Cool. Well, guys, this is episode 15 of the Sell SaaS podcast. I am your host, Will Padilla, joined by three of my great friends, all based in Scottsdale. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about tech sales, current job market, where things are at, people hitting quota, are they not, and tactical things that you guys can take away and actually implement to overcome the hardest hitting sales objections. You guys know who these people are. They've got followings, but I'm going to go ahead and give them the floor to do a quick intro. And we'll start with the Morgan Ingram himself.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Let's go. All right, y'all. Founder and CEO of AMP. We help B2B companies with their B2B influencer marketing, subject matter experts, and produce pipeline generating content. In the past, I've trained Salesforce, Slack, Google on... Why do I hate you? This is hater. And then on prospecting techniques. We'll hand it to you. Why are you being a hater today?
I'm not. I just
You
love
trying to
when you
look
drop
like you're a
some
hater,
logos. He's got to drop the logos.
I mean,
you
people
know?
gotta know some context.
All
They
I'm
might
saying
not know
is we
what's
got a
up.
great on the podcast, y'all. You
They
got
might not know
Morgan
what's
here.
up.
Hey,
You
listen.
know? I felt some teams out the prospect, some notable brands, some startups, a couple things.
I've never heard of Slack, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I hope they make it.
Yeah. So Tom Slocum, founder and CEO of the SD Lab, where we help companies set up, build, scale a repeatable outbound sales motion, helping folks break through the noise with innovative prospecting methods. And it's been a good time, man. LinkedIn top voice. What, do I got some logos to drop? I mean, no, but you know.
LinkedIn
out
top
here.
voice.
That's the logo right there.
That is it, right? So
Four
yeah.
times. So
4 times.
4 times LinkedIn voice, reigning champion.
The Riz over here. It's a
Sweet.
good turn.
I'm Sharif 2D, Sharriff Dyer the second. Sharif 2D on all social platforms. I'm the co-founder of Wealth University, a virtual hiring agency where pretty much we take beginners, help them break into tech sales or any remote career. And then I myself also work in tech sales as well. So I built a career on sales. Sales is one of the best roles to get into.
Any major logos?
No major logos.
I like-
TikTok,
but you got
Instagram.
that
we're
username
everywhere.
is sick, though.
That is a sick.
Thank
That's a
username.
sick username.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah, all platforms.
Yeah.
Same
All
name.
Got it.
All
Yeah.
platforms,
All
all
right.
logos.
Find them everywhere.
Yeah, and all three of these guys you guys all been on the podcast.
Yeah,
so,
we have.
I mean, that's the benefit of this is everyone's going to know who you are. And I mean, this one's excited. I've never done a 4-person podcast, but here we are.
yeah.
I'm excited.
So, all right, guys. So let's talk about kind of what everyone wants to know. Everyone's who listens to this is maybe trying to break into software sales or trying to excel in their career. It's an interesting job market right now. It seems that there's an oversupply of these mid-market, or not mid-market, but kind of like mid-level individuals. So 3 to 5 years of experience who
Yeah.
are looking to transition. It seems there's an oversupply of these type of candidates. You know, what would you say, maybe we can kind of go around the table here. What would you say would be a good way to stand out as a candidate if you're in that 3 to 5 years of experience range
Yeah.
and you're competing with more than you might have expected?
Yeah.
I say he
Yeah.
leads.
Well,
Yeah,
you're the one, yeah.
let's ask a question before he goes. Like, a candidate for what role?
Yeah.
Are you going for AE? Are you going for like enterprise, like
Yeah,
account
we're-
director,
I mean, I
account
think-
management?
I
Because there's
think-
so many different routes you can go.
I think most of the podcasts was always, even this podcast
Yeah.
and the other podcasts that I've done have always just been about like SDRs and SDRs breaking in, SDRs
Yeah.
wanting to be an AE. But like this question is more specifically for the AEs.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of AEs right now who are looking for a new role, at least
Yeah,
some
of
of the
course.
group chats that I'm in.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get in those enterprise positions. They're trying
like
to
that.
get
Okay.
in those mid-market positions. But it seems that there's literally an oversupply
Yeah.
of those type of candidates. At least that's what we're seeing at our company
Yep.
is we're only hiring the best of the best. And,
Yeah.
we had 5 guys compete for a couple roles and they all had over 4 years at their last company, which is really rare.
That's rare
That's
too, yeah.
And so,
it is.
but that's what's on the market right now.
100%.
Okay.
Okay.
So what would you say of like, how do you stand out and like thinking about that next move? What would you give advice on?
Yeah. I want to go with Sharif. We got to
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's-
He's the one helping those to break in and got the community. So
let's start with him.
How do
Yeah.
you help? What's some tips you got?
I would say 2 things. One, you got to lead with volume. And then the second is going to be personalization, like in your strategy. So at least when I'm on LinkedIn and I'm looking at these different account executive roles, or even like the enterprise, like higher level SDR ones, there's still a lot of openings on the job market. So it's just a disconnect of, there's say 10,000 companies hiring, but if you're only sending 10 applications a day, you may not find that perfect opportunity. So it's got to be a mix of like a lot of volume, which is what my team does. They send out applications. Now there's AI tools where it can send out the applications for you.
Yeah.
But along with that volume, you're not going to stand out. You're just going to be actually in front of like the companies. Then it comes to like that personalization where you need to be on LinkedIn. You need to either be sending a connection with a note, either like emailing them, showing them, you know how to put them in a sales cadence, you know how to be personalized with the subject line, first couple sentences. And then as well, like a lot of people sleep on like Loom videos or just sleeping on
Snoozing,
videos.
actually.
Yeah, snoozing.
Yeah. I think you make a good point.
Yeah. If I get a Loom video, I'm opening it.
Right.
I'm watching it. And same with you guys. Like if you're getting a video, something personalized, that's how you stand out. But you're not going to stand out if you're only sending out, 10 to 50 applications. You got to stand out to the masses.
I think you make a good point. It's almost going into the sales process, right? Like volume plus the quality, right? So I always tell people, prospect a job like you would prospect a work. Like you're an AE, your whole multi-thread process, your subject lines, you're using Loom, you're posting on LinkedIn to build awareness. Now, instead of you selling a product, you're selling yourself. So why not do the same tactics that have already worked and show that company what I can do, right? Like, look, hiring manager, here's a video, cold call them, like pick up the phone, call the recruiter, right? You're a hunter. You could find their email, their phone number, and some tools, right? Yeah. Send that personalized video. You can even use SendSpark. They just dropped dynamic video. So you can now do one video, and then it will dub over and send it out to a ton of people.
About that.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over SendSpark.
Dude, it's a printer.
It's a printer.
We got a shirt made out of here.
Yeah, I saw your shirt.
Print money, bro.
They made a shirt. I want that shirt.
So shout out to
them. I can get it for you.
SendSpark prints.
Yeah. So
I want that shirt.
I got you.
It was cool. But I mean, you could do that. So you could do that one video pitching yourself and then dub it over to all the recruiters, but just treat it like a job, right?
Yeah.
But on LinkedIn, build in public. Talk about your interviewing experience. Talk about the things you're looking for. And the biggest misconception is don't go on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm open to work. Niche down and be very specific at what you're wanting to do. So when you do say I'm looking for work, break it down. I want to be an account executive at an enterprise company working in this deal value, because you could say, hey, I'm open to work, hit me up. But then you're too wide. There's too much noise. People will give you good engagement, but they don't know what to hire you for.
I told a guy who reached out to me, I said, make a video and just post it like 60 seconds. And he was like, that's really uncomfortable. I don't know if I want to do that. But I personally haven't seen any candidate post a video on LinkedIn just like, hey guys, let me give you a highlight reel. Like I've closed X, Y, Z. Right. I did that.
Do your highlight.
Why is no one doing that?
Okay. You could take a Morgan approach and make like a sports clip, right? Of like your highlights, right?
Yeah.
Like deals coming up. Make your tryout video, right? And then let them see that.
But I think people think it's weird, but it's not weird.
It's not.
It's cool.
Yeah. I think, so you said the first thing you said was volume.
Yes.
Right? And then you talked about like, okay, break it down and like
prospect
videos,
it like a job.
Prospect a job. So I think it's about volume, but it's volume with intention.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, let me go look up the companies that are hot and just spray and pray.
Yeah.
That's wrong, right? You need to be like, I got 25 companies I'd really like to work with, and then understand like why you would want to do that and understand their markets. Like understand like what's going on in the market right now. Like a great job and a great place to go to right now is actually cybersecurity.
Yes.
Really?
Now, 100%.
Always.
Dude, look at where we're at in the world. AI, everything AI.
Like,
dude, these people are printing paper, bro.
I'm in MarTech. I have no idea about cybersecurity.
Like, if you go look
I
up,
literally have, I don't even understand that.
I'll give you a company like CrowdStrike. I trained their team and they had 220 SDRs. That's just SDRs.
Train them.
That's just the SDRs, right? And so if you think about that, Vanta, Drata, like these are huge.
Oh yeah, we have Drata.
Yeah, there's huge companies at scale in the cybersecurity space. Now, selling to that persona is a different conversation, right? But you will make a lot of money there, and there is huge opportunity, right? So what I would do is I would say, hey, look, volume with intention and understand the industries, IT, data, these things are going to work, right? And then what I do from there is once you go inside the job, let's say I'm an AE, you have enterprise AE, right? You have mid-market AE, then you have an account management role like land and expand, and then you can go be a leader. I recommend people to look at the enterprise and the account management or cross-sell upsell role. Because in the cross-sell upsell role, most people don't know how to sell. Their customer success that got forced into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could go in,
they're very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you could
don't
just dominate.
You could just be a sales rep in a whole nother lane and avenue.
But could you get that role? So if you could say, hey, I've had 5 years of AE experience, now I want to be an account manager. Would you be able to compete with the candidates who have customer success experience?
You could compete because they need revenue.
Yeah.
So you have two things to pitch on. You have two things to pitch on. You have revenue because you know how to drive it.
Exactly.
And then two, you did manage accounts. You have managed your own customers with your AM. So it's just about, again, when you're prospecting for a job, it's how you position stuff.
Exactly.
And that's where people miss things. Do a deep dive into yourself, your skill set, and then match it with the things that will make sense for that org, right? And find where that value is when you're pitching yourself. Just like when you're talking to a prospect saying, hey, why this tool would make sense for you is because of XYZ on what you told me.
Exactly.
Hey, I see this job description. It's account manager. I haven't done account management in the sense of what it is. But here's what I do bring to the table. All the time in my orgs, they had to drive revenue. I looked at your stuff. It looks like your revenue is not doing too hot. I want to come in and impact that. And I might even be able to influence your team. Second, I've managed a book of 100 clients in the past 4 years at my company. Yeah. I know how to interact with those people and have those conversations. 3, I think starting there and then maybe moving to an AE role will help me be more effective because I can understand the world of why people buy from you guys, why they use you, and then take that into an AE role down the road.
And even that tactically out on that, right, is you can look at every single role and it tells you what they're looking for, key responsibilities. Yep. I always tell people just take 2 or 3 of those and then map the story that Tom just gave you, 100%. And you're going to be better than everyone else. I'm just telling y'all, most people go to interviews very lazy because they have entitlement that they should deserve this job. Yep. And to a degree, I feel like people do, they'll come in and be like, hey, I deserve this job. But you have to come in and be like, nope, key responsibilities. Here's my story. Tactically, here's how this plays. Whether in any of those roles I mentioned. So if you have the industry, you have volume with intent, you do these videos, you'll be printing people coming to you being like, here's an offer. And now you can play this fun game where you can then counter offer, negotiate, because you have leverage.
Yeah. One thing I'll add to that too, what a lot of people don't do is when it comes to LinkedIn, when maybe you just don't know how to look through the job description and map out those key responsibilities. So on LinkedIn, you can search for people by the position. So if you're looking for account executive, you type that in the LinkedIn search bar, and then there's a filter called past company. So if you want to actually reach out to someone who was at the company you want to work at, who used to be an account executive, then you can ask for hey, can you give me an unbiased opinion? What was the interview process like? When you were actually in the role, what were they actually focused on? What were the things that moved the needle, moved the numbers? And then maybe even ask why'd you leave that role? Right. Is that even a job that you're going to want to put all this energy into trying to get hired if they tell you they were micromanaging and, X, Y, Z? So even that.
Environment is everything.
That too. And even going, past people, go get the current people too, because a lot of them get referral bonuses.
Oh yeah.
So they want to help and they want to find.
That's why I made a video.
They get a bag. Then they're incentivized to help you out.
If you're already interested in the job, but I go hit Will and I'm like, yo, where you're at, I want to become an executive. Would you be willing to talk to me for a few minutes? And then when I do apply, I'd love to, give you the tip of the hat.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, dude, I make $1,500 if you get hired. So that's paying me for my 30 minutes to pick your brain.
Yeah. But I made that video and I got 40 messages of people wanting a referral. And I said, I have no problem giving you a referral if their background looks good. Sure. If their background doesn't look good, I don't respond. But
because I don't like y'all here. Whoa, you lied.
Bro, you gonna say that? Yeah. Dog, now you gotta have them coming after you talking.
Dude, because I don't like confrontation. I don't like being that guy.
Wait, but you just said out loud.
He's got the shovel, y'all. He's digging.
No, like they're a random guy asking for a referral. I'm just I'm not even gonna break this dude down. He's already out of a job, and now I'm gonna
come on, man.
Now
you're gonna help him out.
Now I'm gonna be the guy to be
he's playing the gatekeeper role over here. You can't get in.
No, like,
You're telling me
I
to
don't
do
think you can pick
outreach.
up the phone.
I don't respond.
I don't cold call. I don't take cold calls.
You can-
as he goes and makes them.
you can apply. I won't stop you from applying, but like the referral thing. And then what I always tell candidates who message me is like, yo, can I get 15 minutes? Like I just applied.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how about we wait until you get the first round interview?
Sure.
And then they're like, okay, got it. Because now once I know they get the first round, I'll spend 15 minutes with you any day.
Right.
Because I want to game you up.
Well, and you have a job too. Like I get where you're coming from.
dude,
You know,
it's a
it's
lot.
just like getting a prospect all the time. I tell people like you're so entitled to think you're the only one asking somebody for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I get 8 emails a day asking for 30 minutes. Like people wouldn't have a job
Bro.
if they took all of them. So when you get so mad at your prospect, it's like, dude, they're working. Like
They're
I can't
working.
give everybody
Yeah.
30 minutes
There's a lot
or
going on.
what am I being paid for?
Yeah.
I almost feel like it would be crazy to get a role in a company, and I might do it for the SD lab where I just hire somebody to take pitches. Like that is their job.
That's it.
That's it.
Ven-
8 hours a
vendor-
day.
Vendor assessment.
Vendor assessment. And all day you want to pitch me, you want to talk to my company, you got to go through this person.
Okay, so you have to give them a therapist first and foremost, because they're probably gonna be losing their mind.
Yeah.
Dude, just hire a little AI bot.
Hey.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
train the
them
bot.
to qualify out.
You could train the
Yeah.
bot.
You could do
Yeah.
that.
You could give it language
Yeah.
models.
Have you ever called an AI bot?
I've
Like
had it call me.
Hyperbound?
They're good.
Yeah.
Some are good. Listen, some are very good.
No, but I know this company that has this AI bot, and then you could train it.
Yeah.
So you could have the bot take pitches. So you could say,
wow.
if it fits this,
Yeah.
tell them we're going to take an initial meeting. So it's like,
There's some, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the next phase of
I'm
coaching.
just saying, I think there is a way to get into having somebody in your org be the pitcher.
How much would you pay that person?
50 to 60, a typical, almost like an SDR role. It would be
Like
like,
an
an
MDR.
SDR role. Yeah.
they'd be inbound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll all
Okay.
be inbound stuff. So they just are getting paid their hourly.
Okay.
And then if they do bring some good stuff, there might be like some quarterly kickers that like, hey, you got through 40 demos this month, you know, and you converted 10 into our org or
Yeah,
whatever.
good
You know,
opportunities.
there'd be some things, you know, but I think that would be cool to just have somebody screen that stuff for the organization. Versus,
Nice.
yeah, you're fighting for time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, hey, AE's got to, you know, you got to eat too. You can't be taking everybody that wants 20 minutes with you, you know? But that's when you then do voice memos, which is your jam. And
Yeah,
then
the
you don't even got to get on a call. You could just voice memo somebody in the LinkedIn DMs.
The voice
Ask
notes
some questions.
are fantastic. If we're going back into breaking into any role, like getting somebody, except like a manager, a senior executive, right? And sending them a voice note saying, here's the reason why I want to do this. That's a game changer.
But also, here's the thing, caveat to that. So many people are focused on and you even did it right there. Hey, I'm good for this role because of this. Just make sure, just like when you're prospecting,
Yeah.
talk to them. Hey, Will, I seen your listing for the account executive role. You've got 100 applicants coming through. I see when in my research, 3 things are top of mind for you on your 10Ks. You're looking to drive revenue here. You've got a new expansion here, and you've got this. Here's why I think I would be a great fit for you. And you make it about them first and show them how you're going to relieve their day to day, how you're not
Agreed.
going to be a nuisance. Look, I've got 5 years AE experience. I don't need my handheld. I know most systems. I know most tech. I can get in and start running.
Yeah.
So when you position yourself to be a value to that person, and that will set you apart. Because as you said a few minutes ago, everybody's coming in with this intent that I earned this job. I deserve this job.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm a LinkedIn influencer. I had a person recently that had an AE role open, posted it on LinkedIn, got a couple 200 people, like 50 of them. He was like, why do you want to work here? Or what, you know, they're like, oh, well, you know, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm an influencer. And he was like done with the interview right then and there for like almost all of them as soon as they would go into that.
Wait,
Because
so he
that
got the
was their-
job?
No, they didn't to get the job.
Well,
But that's what
is
they
it-
were doing in the interview.
So
Like,
he was
also out of
he
touch
was
as
saying
well.
he was saying I'm an influencer, I should get the job.
the people that were coming in for the AE role he posted.
It's crazy. And that's one of the easiest
And
questions to
they were
answer.
saying they were influencers?
Yeah, that's what they
Really?
were using as leverage.
Why you wanna
to
work
the
there.
applicant of to why they wanted to
I
work
can
there.
see why people would do that,
But
but that
do you-
doesn't do anything for you.
But
No.
but do
That's
you,
what I'm saying. What
Okay.
does that have anything to do with being an account executive? Can you close a role? Can
Okay,
you do a
so-
6-figure deal?
I
No,
mean-
I put good content and I can drive, you know, some meetings.
Yeah.
So on that note, do you feel like having a personal brand influencer type profile would help you in a job market right now?
It hurts you if you position it incorrectly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you you think like what happens is when you create content, we all have dopamine receptors, and you get more and more of it as soon as you know it is. You get more and more of it as you create content, and you think you're like the guy, right? Or the
Or
or
gal.
a woman. can I finish? This guy,
Yeah.
he was easy. Like, I was getting there. Like, just let me have my cadence here. Like, you know, like, you're like, no. I'm just like, let me pace out, all right? So, woman, right? And so, essentially, right, you come in, you're like, I should deserve this because I have all this content that I'm posting and people like what I'm saying. But inherently, that doesn't really mean a whole lot if you don't have the skills to do the role, right? And so you should be talking about the skills that allow you to get these deals, that allow you to close, that are getting you to where you need to go. The brand is a great entry point into the house, but that doesn't mean that you get to stay there.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And that's why most people falter out because
I
they
just think
forget
it's-
how
I
they
I would say
they
the brand is
forget.
the X factor. Like
Yeah.
that's just what gets you
That's just
separated
gets you-
from the other people.
just
Yeah,
gets you-
So you
just
do
gets in the
think
house.
it is?
Just
You
gets
do
in the
think it
house.
is
Gets you in the
somewhat of
door.
a separator?
It is
does.
because
If
it's
it's
going
done
to
right.
get me more
Because I
opportunities.
saw a
It's gonna get us more
video.
opportunities.
Saw a video yesterday from like Andy Elliott. He's kind of a crazy guy, but he's he was in the whole crowd and he's like, you need to be on social media. You need to have a brand. And so I think we're all content creators. I think I think people are really trying to put themselves out there, trying to create this
I also
personal
disagree
brand.
with that, by the way.
Really,
I do too.
I don't
Okay.
think every single person
Do
has a
you?
brand.
Do you think everybody should have a brand?
Well, what is
I
it? But doesn't
think
everyone have a brand?
I'll explain it.
Technically, in a sense, but it definitely can hurt you. Like, for example, I was interviewing one company and I didn't even lead with like my personal brand, but they were like, well, why would you stop focusing on that? Or like, why would we want you here if your attention and energy is being spread about in 100 different ways? So it's the way
Wow.
that you lead
Yeah.
with the brand
Exactly.
is what makes you different. Because if not, if it's like that X factor, then it will help. But if it's like, oh, I do this and I'm doing this and that, it's like, well, why would we want to hire you? You've already got all that going on. Like, stay over there.
Most orgs actually don't like it. They don't. The
Yeah.
more I'm tapped in, the more I talk to folks, they kind of are turned off by the influencers or people coming in with the brands because for that exact example is maybe they got a side hustle they start spinning into.
Sure.
All this
Yeah.
stuff or okay, you're posting out there publicly. What stops you from, putting us on TikTok when we lay you off,
Yeah.
right? Those big things happen, right? So it's a liability to the org. But as Morgan said, if you strategically place it, you share what it does for you and could be for the company. It's just about the positioning.
Yeah.
But it can
And
get you in the
definitely
house.
long-term,
It can get you in the
I think you
could be
do
seen.
need it.
You can get in the house.
Like,
I want to hear your take on that too.
So one of the best things, shout out to my boy, Lucas Oyoke, my first boss I ever had as an SDR. And he said, hey, look, because this was right when I started creating content. It was about 5-6 months in. And he was like, look, like there are two brands that you have. He's like, you have your internal brand and your external brand.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can have a great external brand, but have a terrible internal brand.
Yeah.
And if you have a bad internal brand, that actually is not good because when someone background checks you or asks for references, they were like, oh, this person has great content, but they actually don't know how to do the work.
They're a terrible person.
Right. All
That
those
happened
things.
recently.
And so
Really?
the way I think about the building external brand, I say, hey, look, like you can build it. It's going to be helpful. It's helped me. It's helped us in a lot of different ways. But also like the way I wanted to go in my career was a lot different than just being in sales. I wanted more, right? And so it depends on your outcomes and your goals. And it always will be an X factor. It will always get you in the house. But it's not going to keep you in the house. What keeps you in the house is your internal brand and your skills. And so when I tell people, hey, should everyone create a brand? I don't think so. It just depends on your goals and what you're trying to do. But you should always be hyper-focused on your internal brand. So everywhere you worked, my mentor always told me, you need to leave it better than when you came in.
That's it.
Like you need to walk away and they had like frameworks, they had great respect for you and like
Oh yes.
and you actually hit your numbers. Like any job I went to, I always hit the numbers. Doesn't matter what happened, I did that, right? And you need to have that cross-reference with your external brand. So that's what I mean by that.
yeah.
But I'm not telling people not to do it. I'm just saying everyone doesn't need to do it. You can be successful without. There are people walking around millions of dollars, you don't even know who they are, right? They don't have a
Don't
brand.
even know who they
Yeah.
are.
Right. And so I just think it's
Right.
just how you want to do it.
It is kind of what you want out of things. You know what I mean? Because do you want that exposure? Do you want that influencer life?
Right.
I mean, I work in influencer marketing, so it's
Yeah.
synonymous to what I do.
Sure.
My company loves the PR because I mean the COO messaged me today like, hey, can we start running a campaign with you on LinkedIn?
That's
cool.
cool.
Just because it generates
You're
inbound
being
traffic.
seen. Yeah.
It's almost like a free little marketing funnel. But we're in marketing.
space.
We're in marketing.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in the influencer marketing realm, if you're in content, you're in production, you're in ad placement, people want those type of people. Cause like, oh dude, that's a free ad for us.
Yep.
Like we need them. But if you're not in that space, I could totally see how it may not be as beneficial. Also, the hiring manager may not understand what the value is in that. And rightfully, I can see where they're coming from. That it's like they sell security software. How many IT guys
that's the
are
other thing, is
caring about IT influencers?
Does the ICP even care, right?
Yeah,
You got to know if the
that's what
ICP
it is.
even aligns
That's
up,
another
right?
question
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. I had a person go through a hiring process recently, and they are great on LinkedIn, killer. Everybody knows of them. Went through an interview process and failed it epically.
Wow.
They don't have the skills. They were just cool on LinkedIn. They can create cool content. I think people get so construed because content.
Dude.
Morgan gets mad at me all the time because I say it's really not that hard to do content.
No, come on, bro.
And so he's always like yelling at me for it. But I think you're just writing on social media. Anybody can start doing that.
Yes.
Now, to get viral, to do things in the right placement, know all the formulas, the algos. Yes, there is a skill set. But anybody any day can open a social media profile and kind of start. And now with AI and stuff, there's people making millions that don't even show their face on the platform. So what does it really provide? Like, what can you really showcase in that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I could get seen. Maybe I can go viral. But do you have the skills in the back end to actually do what we're hiring you to do? And that's where people miss. They make themselves look super cool on the highlight reel and on social media. But then you talk to them and you're like, are you good? Like, do you know what you're doing?
That's facts.
Like, wait a minute, what? And they're like, no, I'm on LinkedIn though. And I'm like, yeah, but like, can you do this? They're like, no. I'm like, all right, well, like, I appreciate you being seen and cool. I could get some virality out of you and be seen, but you're not going to be able to do anything with it.
I'm curious, like from like your perspective, when you're talking to people that want to get into tech and they want the X factor, are you pushing to say, okay, you need to create content and build a brand for this? Or
No.
you're like, hey, look, like if they come to you selectively outside of that, like I'll help you if you really want it, but you're like not pushing it that hard.
Yeah, no, I don't push it. I would say the biggest thing I push is like the skills. You have to have those skills, the internal skills, and then as you build up internally, naturally, the external brand like that will just show.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to have a sustainable career, like long term, and maybe eventually you want to branch out to start your own things, build your own teams, build your own businesses, having your own brand is almost like just having your own resume, but it's public. Everyone can see it. So I think that's where it helps long term. But I
Super
definitely don't
public.
think for anyone who's just trying to break in tech, building a brand's the last thing you should focus on.
Yeah.
If you're like making content, last thing you should focus on. I would secure whatever role you're looking to land first. Then once you get in that role, you develop those skills, then you can actually share those with other people. But it's really tough to make content by itself. And then like if you don't have anything like meaningful to make content about, it's even tougher. So
That's a whole other argument. It can be inverse because then people are like, wait, who is this joker, right?
Yeah, like what are you going to teach
Nobody
me?
wants to touch
Actually,
you.
nobody
No.
wants to touch you.
Yeah.
You come in with your brand and they're like, yeah, no, it's actually doing you a disservice.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
already seen you and I actually don't like what you're saying. And y'all
Yeah,
love it,
no.
like that's
Ouch.
That's very well aware.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens.
Ouch.
and the last thing I want to say on this, to prove it to you, Will, is that like there also when you do create the brand and you could be at the top, there always is someone next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's fighting for you every day.
So-
Rent is due every day.
Right. And so like you could always taper off. And then if you don't have the brand and you have not developed the skills,
Cooked.
it's even worse.
Cooked.
Yeah.
Right. So you just got to be mindful of the skills. I just think that's like the most important thing.
This is like when you said the influencer thing, that sparked a question for me. It's like I really was genuinely curious of like how everyone is hearing this because there's so many different takes. Some people are saying you got to create the personal brand. Some people are saying I don't know about the personal brand. But also I think I was talking with a guy last week. Anything you post on social media, and if you especially like a lot of people like to have public Instagram profiles.
Sure.
Yeah.
That may not be broadcasted and you're not trying to broadcast that, but all the hiring manager has to do is type you up on Instagram
Name, man.
and let's just say nothing related to software sales, nothing related to sales, but your brand is partying every weekend in Miami. But I'm talking about hey, by the way, this is a specific example. This is actually someone, this has happened to someone.
Yeah.
This happened to this guy. He pushed this candidate through the funnel. They found out the Instagram, kind of got blindsided, and they actually did not move forward
Extend
with
the
this
offer.
candidate because of the way that they portrayed themselves on social media. A lot of it was blackout drunk. But that's not even something that person was trying
they
to promote as a
unintentionally
brand.
built
No,
that
but that's
brand.
just like in sports. You watch these athletes and influencers do it all the time, man. If they make one wrong move, that thing can ruin. Look at Kanye West. ruined his brand by just on a podcast episode talking about something, and then Nike was like, "We're done, cooked. We got to pull off." Right? Even though that had nothing to do with that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So that stuff lives with you forever. The internet lives forever. I didn't grow up in the internet. Right? Like I was not in that era.
You just have to be so
So
careful.
like it's just different,
Tom's
right?
like 50 also.
Yeah, sorry. Listen, had the beeper in high school. No, but it's just different, and that stuff will follow you. So I think worry about the skills, differentiate yourself in the process. Really focus on, hey, I can do this job. That comes first, and that's my priority. A brand can come in, and I'm happy to do some posts for you. I'm happy to support you in that.
Sure.
But that's separate. That's just my thing. But I'm here for you and your company, and this is what I can bring to the table with these skills.
Yeah,
That's
skills
priority.
is always most important.
Yeah.
Always most important. Do the dang job.
It's priority.
It's priority. Do
Also,
the job.
Assess your skills as well. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I did myself is just like a report card. I wrote down cold calling, cold emailing, time management, video selling, and I gave myself grades.
Ooh.
And so I was like, terrible. I was all F's in the beginning. But then I was like, okay, but how do I get better?
Yeah, you
Right?
find your
Right.
blind spots.
Right. How do I get better
Yeah.
at this? And so like I started seeing
Yeah.
progression, like, okay, F to C, right? C to A. And then like, okay, I need to focus here. So I think when it comes to skills, like we're talking about leveling up, but that's a practical example of like everyone listening in, if you're in tech sales or whatever you're in right now, I literally would write down all the things you do in your sales role and be like,
Yeah.
what would you grade
Have
yourself?
to track it.
And be real.
Same with
Don't
the
be like,
interviews,
oh,
too.
You have to be
pause.
real.
Like,
You have to be real and really take it serious, or talk to some
No,
people that
seriously.
know you very well.
Yeah.
Ask past managers. I'd send a scorecard to past managers and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, here's some things I'm looking at for myself. I worked under you. Can you just give me honest feedback on which skills you saw on a day to day and give me a grade on it?
yeah.
Then do your own self assessment,
Right,
pull it all
exactly.
together.
Yeah.
Right? Get
Yeah,
your averages and
agreed.
say, cool. A couple of past managers said I was really bad at email, or I was really good on the phones. Okay, now I think I was very good.
Assess.
Yeah, and then you move.
Yeah. We were going to say something though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even with the interview process, I have a score sheet like for the members in our group.
Yes. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even record their interviews. It's just like an athlete, it's film. Whether you
Game
do
tape.
good,
Yeah.
whether you do bad, go through. How did you open it? Did you build some rapport? Were you asking questions? Were you answering questions well? Were you using the STAR method? How did you close the interview? Like a lot of people, especially if you're trying to break into a sales role, don't look at the interview. It's a sales call.
Can you tell people what STAR method is?
Yeah, so STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. It's pretty much like telling a story
Yeah.
when you're answering a question.
Being the star of the
And,
show.
Yeah, usually how it works is like they're gonna ask you, "Oh, tell me about a time you had a manager and they gave you some constructive criticism," or "Tell me about a time you had to do this in a row." And like anytime there's a question related to that, or even if you're asked like, "Tell me about yourself," you can always word. I now have like 3 stories off the top of my head of just sales transactions I did in the past. And then whatever the question is, you can kind of work it into like, okay, so this is what was happening. This was a little context. And then I was struggling with this, but I did this, this, and this instead. And this was the perfect or like positive result that happened. So that STAR method, like have to use that for interviews.
I love that.
I like it.
Anything else on the LinkedIn influencer topic before we?
I feel like that's a separate pod in itself.
I mean, no, seriously. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you guys want to say on that? It's also hard for candidates. I get messages all the time from people who, say like, dude, and they're trying to like get insider info.
Right.
Like I know
Yeah.
people, but I really don't. And they're like, what's up with this person? And I'm like, I don't know. But like, there's a lot of noise. They're trying to figure out like, who do I listen to? And I think that's challenging for a new candidate.
I think it is harder. I mean, ultimately, like what I'm going to say, it's harder to find, but it's the best way to look at things is check the receipts.
Okay.
Where have they been?
Agreed.
Check the receipts. Where have they been? What have they done? Right? You could always back channel if you really want to do that. But I always just tell people, check the receipts, like what's going on. And you could do that on LinkedIn to see where they've done.
Oh,
been
yeah.
at, right? That's just the best way to look at it.
Agreed.
Cool. You guys want to do the wheel?
Let's
Are we
do it.
ready?
Time?
Are we ready for
I don't
the
know
wheel?
if they're ready.
Yeah.
Are you all
Let's
ready
do
for
it.
this? This is what we have. All right, today's
Talk to them
show.
about the wheel. Talk to them about the wheel.
All right, so we have the Wheel of Fun, where we have.
It's the world of fun.
I got that on Amazon.
Can't even let me fix myself. Look, now he's doing it to me.
I put that together.
So Will so graciously brought us this wheel where we've got a couple talking points on here. Best cold email subject line we've ever done. Sell me this glass of water. Couple objections, so we could get super tactical. So the 3 of us are going to each spin.
Yeah.
Get one of these. and in real time, kind of give some tactical advice on how we would handle it or go through it. So I am going to
Just put it
let
right there and spin.
okay
Yeah, and you know,
pass it off to you first
Sweet.
to rip the Band-Aid here.
What's he gonna get?
Oh, aggressive.
Oh, it's very aggressive. Oh,
Okay.
overcome the objection. I need to think about it.
Ooh,
Sweet.
Okay, so let's give
So
the
should we role play it
context.
out?
yeah,
Should we
we
role
should-
play it out
we
for
should-
a
I
second?
I like role playing.
Let's
Okay.
role play it.
You're,
So your
who are you?
community, you'll sell your stuff, right?
Okay.
Right, your community,
Easy.
and then you want to play prospect?
you were fired up to play the prospect. I think you need to be the prospect today.
Okay, I will
Yeah.
be prospect.
You got like a prospect outfit on. Like, you
Which is good, right? SD Lab, you could look at me hiring,
Yeah, this
right?
is-
And
this
then
is
you're
reasonable.
pitching me some of your people, and I could just say, my objection is I need to think about it.
yeah.
Okay.
And then you play it out and just kind of show people how you would work that.
Let's do it.
Some sales reps, I don't know why they freak out at this one.
This one's tough. I'm not gonna come on, man. It's tough.
You see those
Especially
clip-
newbies. Like I'm a 15-year vet. You've been in it for 5 years.
I actually just started yesterday.
Right.
Fooled everybody. Fooled us all. All right, let's play this out. So, all right. Hello?
Hey, this is Sharif. Is this Tom?
Yeah, this is him.
Hey, what's up? What's up? I know, you wanted to just touch base and you were looking to bring on some more candidates. And we have a lot of, SDRs that are trained up, account executives. Just wanted to see how you're looking at hiring some people.
So I put up a LinkedIn post. Got a brand there. I'm an influencer. So, put that out there so that we could get some apps in. But yeah, I put the job description. Looking through some communities of friends that I have, looking for some referrals. I love when somebody can come in that, hey, maybe my buddy Will knows of somebody good. So that's kind of what we're doing to fulfill these roles right now.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, like, how many roles and what specific role are you looking to fill?
So SCR.
Okay.
So looking for about 2 to
Okay.
fill. So seeing kind of what we can find in the pile of candidates to bring in 2.
Okay. How many SDRs do you have on the team?
1.
One. Okay. Cool. Well, I was just calling, wanted to set up some time. I've got 10 a.m. tomorrow or 2 p.m. and, see how we can help fill some SDRs for you.
Let me think about it. I need
Yeah.
some time. Right now, I'm kind of slow playing the game. I'm not trying to open the floodgates just yet. But if you give me some time to think about it, I might circle back with you.
Okay. 100%. I definitely can give you some time to think about it. I know you mentioned you have one SDR, just in terms of like, you have the role posted. How does that usually affect, operations, just with one SDR?
Big time. We're kind of limited on what we have with just the one. Hence why we want to bring in 2 more, kind of expand the outreach, help with processes. So it kind of strains on it just having the one. But I'm just so caught up with all the things I've got moving pieces right now that doing interviews as I can and weeding through all of it.
So, it seems like you're super, super busy and it is kind of limiting you. Is that affecting like your revenue, your sales processes, just having that one SDR when like in terms of like limiting, or would you say it's more so limiting like just your bandwidth and, how you can focus your time on things?
It's all of it. It's really all of it. It's just, me having to stop my day, do 2-3 interviews a day, weeding through half the stuff that shouldn't even have come through, others that do. So it's just, it's a lot.
Okay. Makes sense. Shoot, Tom, typically when we're talking to other founders like yourself, they say the same thing. They're kind of spending, extra 3 to 4 hours, whether it's a day or a week. And I do think it would just make sense, maybe we tentatively throw 15 minutes on the calendar and, best case scenario, 15 minutes, we save you 3 hours out the week. And, worst case scenario, at least you've got a good contact in your back pocket and some information to make a more informed decision.
You got it. Send it on over.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Cool. All
Very
right.
nice.
What do you think, Will?
Feedback.
I'll go first since I was a prospect, right? I think, what he saw there, I said I need to think about it. And what I want everybody to take away is he didn't give up there. He didn't just stop and be like, cool, no problem. He asked a question. He got specific in the next question to kind of keep me talking. And we went another 2-3 minutes right there, right? A couple things he could have done differently is, maybe say, hey, why didn't I show you some candidates that we have and the caliber of those? Because why go through 50, like you said, 30 to 50 a week that you're seeing? We can get you down to maybe 10, but we know that they're skilled. They're actually help you weed through all that because your time is super valuable, Tom. You said you're spending 4 hours doing that. I can send you some sample profiles while you think about it. And then let's get a tentative calendar on for Tuesday. So I'll give you the weekend. It's Friday. I'll send you 3 profiles that have been placed already. so you
I like
can
that.
see that caliber. And then we'll catch up on Tuesday. And if you like what you saw versus what's in your pile now, I can give you a couple candidates next week, and I'll help you set that process up, giving you back that 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
Sound fair?
I like that. Leading
And then
with
it's like, cool, you
value.
still need to think about it, right? You're acknowledging that. You're throwing them a bone of like, okay, let me show you what we have. Or some people that were already placed, right? That we did get hired. And then let's just go ahead and get that call on the books. And if you don't like what you see, cancel that invite out. I'll understand. But if you like what you see and you think that's some pretty good caliber, then let's go ahead and talk on Tuesday at 2:00.
I like that. You're actually giving them something to think about and digest instead of like twiddling their thumbs.
Right, because then you're just hoping they think about something.
Yeah.
And like, come on, man. As soon as I hang up the phone,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
moving
not
on.
thinking
My
about-
day,
yeah.
my fire
Yeah.
comes in the day, whatever.
It's over.
But if you send me an email and the subject line is, think about this, and then there's some profiles, now you've got a layup, right? And then you already secured that meeting on the call and give them that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hey, if you don't like what you see, cool, cancel that meeting out and I'll understand. But if you do like it, we'll keep it. And then I'll show you what we have currently on our roster that is of that caliber. And I'll get you through all that noise, man. And we'll get you some good people.
I like that.
I really like that. Never heard it, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That email, here's something to think about is really nice.
Yeah.
Think about this.
It's almost like that swag of saying, "Hey, we'll put the meeting on the books tentatively.
Yeah.
You know, based on the candidates or based on the quality of individuals I can send over to you. You know, you let me know if you still want to keep that. But let's just put that on the books for now, and you be the judge. But I promise you, I think you'll like what you see.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Swag.
Yeah. Any
Nice,
feedback?
Tom.
Thanks.
No, I
Good
like
job,
that.
though. Good
Thank
job,
you.
dude. Live on air, like
on air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
freaky,
live.
man. It's,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Well, this is what everyone wants. Like whenever we did, remember we did the wheel for 30 Minutes at President's Club?
That was crazy because I was on an iPhone when we did that one. I did a webinar on an iPhone because my computer just went on the fritz. The,
All right,
the
well-
hamster messed up. All right,
Morgan Ingram,
here we go.
I will be your prospect. What are we doing?
It depends on what we get.
What kind of spin was that, man?
You want a more elaborate spin?
Were you like purposely trying to get
What do you get?
I'm busy.
Oh, okay.
So this is a
Are you
cold
good with
call.
that, or you want to respin?
I'm good with that.
Okay. I'm just gonna be a jerk, and I'm busy. Can't get my attention.
Okay, cool.
He's gonna pull the influencer card.
This is a
Watch
cold
when I say
call
I'm
now.
busy, and he's gonna be like, "Well, listen, I'm an influencer."
You should really
Yeah,
take
you've seen me on LinkedIn.
as a prospect. You called your own self out on.
I was kidding and put that in there.
I
as
think
a
that's how
joke.
you actually answer the phone.
Oh my god.
I think you're like, I'm a LinkedIn top sales.
When they tell me they
voice.
don't know
I'm
who I
an
am, I do
insider.
get offended. I'm like, you don't know me?
See?
Come on.
I knew it.
Stop.
I knew it.
No.
I knew it.
Listen,
All right,
I'm not the
so-
one with the ego.
I'm busy on the cold call.
All right.
Okay, so ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tom. Thanks so much for taking the call. Hey, look, I know I'm calling you out of the blue here. However, do you have a few moments to chat?
I'm actually really busy, man. I'm about to head into a meeting.
Oh, I completely understand that. I've been booked with meetings too. I'm about to head into one as well. So look, this is all I'm asking for. 30 seconds of your time. And in another 30 seconds, I'll explain to you what we do here. And if that's applicable, we could put time on the calendar. And if not, you can hang up on me. Does that sound fair?
I'm literally walking in the meeting door now, so go.
Cool. Awesome. So the reason I'm reaching out is we've been talking to a lot of sales leaders, and the one obstacle they're facing right now is converting meetings on LinkedIn. It's crazy out there. Pitch and slaps. It's wild. And we have a framework with voice notes and videos that's converting at 40% with other leaders in the cybersecurity space like yours. And I'm just curious to see if that might be a peak of interest.
Yeah, I mean, my reps are doing that. Like I said, I got to jump. But if you want to send me some information, get that in place, then yeah, you've got my attention.
Well, they're doing it, but how exactly are they doing it? What's the conversions there?
Not great. I've got a few reps who kill it. They're probably booking half of their quota via that, and then I have some who they're not seeing nothing. They're putting in the effort, but they don't see the same results.
Okay, you said it's not great. I know you're heading into a meeting, but could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
You know, I'm really busy, man. I don't have a lot of time, but they're just not seeing it, right? They're doing the voice notes. They're working. I've tried to partner them up with other peers that are seeing the success.
Yeah.
But they're just, I don't know what they're saying in those voice notes. I don't know kind of how they're doing it, but they come to me and they're like, it's not working for me. So they stick to the traditional channels like email and calling.
Yeah, look, I know you're heading into a meeting, so typically when I hear that, you know, our framework's able to be implemented and we're able to see the conversions there, so we can take some of those B players probably to A players and probably hit the pipeline number that you have. So, look, I know you probably have your phone in front of you, so are you free like next Tuesday at 5 so we can just talk a little bit more about how this works?
Do you have Wednesday at 10?
Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that does work for me.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Just to confirm, is the email tom@sdlab.com?
That is it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to send that to you right now as you head into your meeting because you're probably getting on a call. So could you accept that for me?
Yep, done.
Okay, great. I'll talk to you then.
Cool.
That was really
Sheesh.
nice.
Sheesh,
So a couple
dude.
things there, right? You've seen his tone. Came in very calm in that initial, hey, it's Morgan. Relatable on the meetings, right? Like, hey, I got meetings too. The B to A player mention, right? Like, hey, we have a process that's super implemented. He showed me that it wasn't a big burden on me. Like, he'd come in, take my players from B to A. He was very active listening, right? Hey, I heard you say they're not so great. Why is that? But I like that you took the not busy, and again, didn't shy away from it, acknowledged it, built some rapport off of it, calmed me down, and then utilized the time. Only caveat that I would give you as feedback is, as soon as I said, hey, I'm busy, you said, cool, can you give me 30 seconds and I can tell you why and whatnot? Just cut that. Hey,
You don't like that one.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I think I try to be as effective as possible on the phone now don't get me wrong, on the fly, there's things I will do, but I try to remove as much fluff as possible that is super unnecessary. Just take the 30 seconds to tell them why you called. Don't spend 15 of that telling them, hey, can I have 30 seconds? Be like, hey, Morgan, I understand you're busy. Totally get that. I'm jumping into a meeting myself. I seen that your reps are actually putting in comments on posts. I see them trying to be active on LinkedIn, but I'm just curious, how is that performing for them? Oh, it's cool. It's working.
Yeah.
Now I just get right into it.
So none of that
Yeah.
is permission.
So that's it. Because I like to control the pace. Because if you say you're busy, that's just super ambiguous, and like you're actually not busy because you answered the phone.
Yeah.
That's always what you want to say, right?
Right.
Like you answered.
Yes.
So I wanna box it in even more to 30 seconds so that like I can get a committed 30 seconds if you're paying attention. Because if I continue on and you say you're busy, you think
might
that
hang
like
up.
I'm just like steamrolling you, and I'm like, let me get the 30 seconds at minimum so we can at least set this up. But that's my mindset. But I think
Sure.
everyone's pace is different though. Which
Everybody's
I agree with.
paces. And I think
Yeah.
it's about being strategic. I'm not saying brush off of it or be steamrolling them and be like, oh,
Right.
just disregard the I'm busy. Just
No,
be
I'm
like,
not saying
hey,
you are, yeah.
hey, I get it. You're busy right now, Morgan, as am I. That's why I took this call real quick. I'm jumping
Sure.
into a meeting.
Yeah.
And then the reason I called was because I seen some of your reps dropping comments, doing some stuff. I wanted to take 30 seconds to show you a process that helps reps see a 40% increase on what they do via video and voice memo. Do you think I can call you back in about an hour when that meeting's over? Or do you think I can have 30 seconds right now and I can tell you a little bit more?
Yeah.
Then you
Two
position
options
it that
is
way.
good too.
I think that's also I think the key thing here is with cold calling, and I'm gonna go back to like the influencers piece, is that because this is really important. This is important for people to know. Is that like when people do content, they're like, this is it. If you don't follow this cold calling formula, you're gonna fail. And it's like, well, that's something you need to
That's
be mindful
aggressive.
of. You need to find people who are like, hey, this is the way that I do it.
Sure.
This is how this works, and here people get results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the way I just described it, that works for me, it works for other people. But also,
yeah.
Tom's way and style can also work as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Absolutely.
great, this is another piece of information someone can use. So I
Absolutely.
just want to bring that back and say, if you have someone who's like, this is the way, this is the only, be careful.
Yeah. And one size never fits
No.
all.
Yeah.
And I think
Be
what we
careful.
can, in these two examples, and let's give somebody that, there's this framework, right?
Yeah.
I think you both applied the framework and however you handled it.
Yeah.
And that's what I coach and that's what I teach. I don't like scripts. I don't like putting people in boxes. It's
Yeah.
frameworks and formulas that then can be adapted to you
All day long.
on your
Yeah.
style and to your style. Because that's what's going to make it work. In cold calling, you have to be you. If you try
Yeah.
anything else, you're doing all this stuff, people will read through it. So I
And
think
they'll
you
feel
both
it.
did three things, and I call it ARM. Acknowledge, respond, move on. So you both did that in the case of the objection. You acknowledged
Yeah.
it. Both of you did. Hey,
Yeah.
my time. You both did that.
Yep.
Then you responded with a nice value drop of, hey, 30 seconds. You were like, hey, what are you doing here with that time? And then you moved on and got right into the next piece of the discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you can apply that to all of these, then you find your style within that. But
Which
I think
makes
when you
sense.
hear objections like these, acknowledge it head on, respond to it with some value, and then move on and keep the conversation to the next piece with an open-ended question,
Yeah.
something to show a piece of research you've done
Yeah.
that will keep that person like, okay, this call is valuable to me right now.
Sure.
I don't want to jump in this meeting just yet. I kind of like what Morgan's telling me right now. And he did his research, so I need to have that conversation real quick.
Yep.
I mean, this is so well explained because this is the one I run into the most, right? I think most sellers probably run into this the most.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always a knee jerk.
I'm busy right
Yeah.
now. I can't take this
As
call.
soon as they find
It's
out
like-
what they hear,
right?
yeah.
And I feel like even for me, who's been cold calling for like 6 years or so, I even sometimes go into fight or flight of like, especially if it's in a really rude tone from them, I have to almost be like in fight or flight, and sometimes I'll say, oh, well, when would be a better time? But like, that's not really a good rebuttal to that. And sometimes I'll be able to have them actually, if they're cool, call me at 3. And then I could work and book and say, oh, this. Oh, email, let's confirm 3 o'clock's on the books. Now that's great, best case scenario. But typically when I say when would be a better time, they're just like,
Not
you know,
really, never.
no, like
Yeah.
don't, like they're like just like I don't have time for this right now. I'm in a meeting. Click.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
And that's the worst sometimes is you get it to where you don't even have a chance to have the convo.
Yeah,
They
it's a-
just straight
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm busy, I'm running into a meeting, and then you go to start speaking and you hear the dial tone.
Yeah.
You're like,
What-
dang.
It's still fine though, because you could call them 2 weeks later and they won't remember.
They
you.
have no idea who
Yeah,
you
that's
are.
the best part.
They have
contextually
no
people
idea
understand
who
is
you
like,
are.
It's not like game over.
They'll put 2BR in that. That'll be like a 2BR for somebody or a close lost, like a 2B revisited. I'm like, bro, you didn't even get anything
Yeah.
out of them.
No.
They don't. They're not gonna remember
No,
you.
they
It
won't.
wasn't even a, it
At
wasn't
all.
even an
The
objection.
same day they won't.
It was.
You don't
At
even
all.
get your name
You didn't
off.
even get
really.
the pitch
Yeah.
out or anything. Like to
The
get
company.
to get the close lost 2BR, like they had to at least know who you are,
That
what
was
you had to
wild,
offer,
dog.
and have a fair assessment to
Yeah.
say no. If
Yeah.
they didn't get that, then dude, call back. They
Yeah.
forget. Because like we went back to, they're getting calls all day. You're
Yeah.
not the only one.
No, they're gonna
You
forget.
probably called me and I did that to you, and then 15 minutes later he called my phone.
Right.
I mean, I did that to him.
And the
Yeah.
prospect is just like literally on their computer. They don't even remember what just happened. They have
So
no
they
idea.
don't.
They have no idea. Okay, cool. Good,
All right.
guys.
My turn. Morgan, will you be my prospect?
I will.
All right. That's like spin a wheel, my guy.
Okay.
Gosh darn it.
Oh
dude.
yes.
I wasn't wanting.
Yes.
Wait, which
For
one?
those
Yes.
that didn't see, I got
Yes. Not
interested.
interested. Oh yes.
I just this one.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All this
Sounds fun.
trash talk you've had. I'm about to be the nicest prospect in the world.
I mean, I don't know if I could call AMP for. I guess I could because I'm doing outsourced SDR work. You're in your company,
Yeah,
so
so we
I'm
can do that.
sure maybe there's a way I could pitch you like getting some additional support.
Yeah.
So,
No,
oh
that's
man.
applicable.
Oh, all right, now it's my turn. All this talk.
He's Yapasaurus. Here he comes.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Morgan?
Yeah, it is.
Hey Morgan, Tom Slocum with the SD Lab, giving you a ring. I had seen on LinkedIn you've been doing some outreach. I saw you in a couple comments with some folks, and I wanted to reach out about potentially helping your sales motion. How many SDRs are you currently running with at AMP?
We don't have any right now.
Okay. Really cool, right? Some people are super lean. They
Yeah.
don't have those teams. Out of curiosity, I talked to a lot of sales leaders who right now the landscape's super hard to get meetings.
Yeah.
What's working for you?
Yeah, so we create a lot of content through LinkedIn, and so we have some inbound that comes in, and then I do my own prospecting. So I guess I become the SDR to a degree, and that's how we get meetings across the board. And we have some referrals as well from clients.
Founder-led sales at its finest.
Yeah, I know. I heard it's
you
the
know?
thing nowadays. So.
Hey, I had to do it when I started my
Yeah.
own company. I get it. But there does come a point, right, that we can agree that that can become quite cumbersome between execution of clients, doing process. Again, creating content is not easy. I'm a big fan, by the way. I do see your content.
Yeah.
I love it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. But it can become tough and
Yeah.
driving sales. Here at the SD Lab, we actually can become an extension of your team. We do outsourced appointment setting. Now, before you shut that down, I know about 92% of companies kind of fail with that and
Yeah.
have a bad taste. Trying to be different there. But have you ever thought about leaning into maybe getting some sales reps in to help you?
Yeah, I mean that. Not really. Just I'm not really not interested in that. Like I think we're fine right now.
You don't love the SDR, do you?
That isn't applicable. I think I love the SDR. I am doing it myself, but it's just not really interested in it. I mean, if you want to follow up maybe in 6 months, maybe, but yeah, I'm just not really interested in this.
That's fair. Things are working, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's just like when you go to get a TV, you won't do it until one breaks.
Yeah.
So you're in that spot.
I hope something doesn't break.
Yeah,
Tom.
you're at the point where things, it's working.
Yeah.
So until it becomes a problem or an issue, I'm not really addressing it. And that's where a lot of folks go when they're looking at a founder-led sales motion.
Yeah.
But over time, that referral business, that stuff might dry up. And then,
Yeah.
you don't have that proactive outreach going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this super brief with you. If you're cool with it, let's talk Wednesday at 2:00. I'd love to just break down how we're helping and show you how we differentiate across, many orgs. I'm working with a few other founders like yourself that are really leaning into the content motion.
Yeah.
I can show you how we can leverage your own content in our sales motion and then keep that pipeline flowing, keep you out there more within your market. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. I mean, when you say founders, there's a lot of different founders. Like, are they in my space? Like, are they in my industry? Like, Can you give me some relevant case studies here?
We're working with a lot of kind of digital marketing media companies like you, where you guys are incredible at your marketing. You know that, you know how to position, but on that back end, it can be cumbersome to try to close that stuff up because you're thinking from a marketer standpoint, right? Driving the leads. So on Wednesday, when we meet, I can actually bring you 2 clients, break down the processes we implemented, show you some messaging that we were sending on their behalf, leveraging their own content like you do.
Yeah.
And then we can see if it's a fit for you. And if not, hey, I'll just show you some innovative ways to scale out what you're already doing because you are solo. I'll show you how to kind of 10x your effort because we both know, if you've only got an hour to prospect, it's got to be super on point. So I'll show you some cool stuff there, take away a couple things. And if it works out, great. You've got a team that can help you, and you could go back to doing what you love, which is being with your clients, being the CEO, and get 5 hours back a week where you're not prospecting.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I love the prospect. So I think the main thing here is I'm going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks. So Wednesday won't work, but maybe you can follow with someone on my team, and maybe they can take this meeting and they can loop back me in.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. They could disqualify me, qualify me out before we get to you. I'll send you some resources in the meantime. I'll show you those 2 case studies, and then you can at least see okay, were they similar to me? What were they doing?
Yeah.
Who is that person that you would probably connect me with?
His name's Will.
Okay. Do you have Will's email?
It's will@kellogg's.com.
Cool. I'm going to take the burden off you. I know you got to get ready for your traveling. So I'll email Will, CC you on it, let him know you brought me in, and then have him book on a calendar. We'll cover it there. If he likes what he sees, thinks it could be valuable, we'll loop you in when the time comes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. I'll talk to Will soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, you were tough at then. I thought you were going to take the meeting.
Oh, I'm going to be tough.
Yeah, that was.
He was doing that just for me.
Those things will come up.
Yeah,
That's a real
prospect. This is a real prospect, so I'm going to keep it real.
It's a real prospect. It's a real prospect. I thought you were going to take the meeting at that point, and then I was going to say, I like how you explained exactly what you were meeting about, the benefits of why you were meeting, and you gave him an out. If it's not a fit, no problem. And I feel like most prospects ghost meetings that they don't understand what they're actually meeting about.
Facts.
So I thought you did a really good job of saying, this is what we're meeting about. This is what we'll go through.
Yeah.
I would have taken the meeting if you would have taken just one more step at the end.
What step?
Please tell me. What?
When I said Will, I would have said, let's do both.
Do both what?
Bring us both.
Yeah, have you both on?
No, because you were going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. I don't want to wait. I would love to just talk to Will and let him disqualify or qualify for you.
But
you're going to be traveling.
I'd agree with Morgan though, because this happens to me every week. What Morgan just did happens to me every week. Call CEO. He says, yeah, you sound really cool. I even get permission of saying, hey, can I put you as a reference that you're actually referring me to this person? CEO says, cool, no problem. Meeting doesn't get booked.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get booked.
Or what's going to happen is I'm not going to give the person any context. I'm not going to communicate the context of why this is important.
Right.
So I could have said, cool, what I'll do is I'll book that with Will, and I'll CC you on that invite. So if you're around, you can hop on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
multi-threaded. I said I was going out
it.
of town. I didn't say I was on vacation.
Sure. That's true.
Yeah, I like that.
I still would have locked me down.
Ooh.
I'm going out of town. Doesn't mean if I was on vacation, I actually agree with you.
And a good part to do rapport there too. I could have stopped for a quick second and been like,
"What are you going out of town for?"
I just got back from Vegas myself. Where are you headed?
It could have been a whole.
And then
dialogue.
a whole.
Yeah.
I could have been going to an event to look for talent.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Very fair.
So I would have actually dug in and said, "Oh, that's great. You're going out of town. Time zones maybe change up, but I want to make sure that I can show you the founder's use case." And then I would have asked for his role, and I got use cases for that.
Okay.
Right? And then I would have got both people on the call.
Yeah. I was
That's literally the only thing.
who's prospecting for you while you're out of town?
Yeah.
That would have got me. Yeah. That would have cooked me. Yeah. I would have been
who's prospecting for you while you're out of town?
Oh, no, that would have cooked me. Because that actually is happening right now, to be fair. Actually, that's a real pain point.
That's a real pain point.
I was just speaking. I can't prospect. So that's a real pain point. I actually would have been I actually don't have an answer for that.
I like it, dude. That was smart. That's that listening.
That's a real pain point.
And this is what happens.
Now.
But this is what happens in sales, man. You get in these calls, and then Caspy had put a meme about this the other day of once you hang up, there's so many things you would have said.
Every time.
Or you would have been
100%.
dude, how did I miss that? And
Every
you
time.
go back and review. That's why going back to the game tape, you can start getting better. And I could have,
that's a great
replayed that call. But hey, not interested.
But actually, you know what I loved is how you kept pace because I really wasn't like being like,
Right.
expansive. You kept pace. But the biggest thing that I actually see people get hung up on is when they get asked the question around relevant use cases in the space and they freeze.
Yeah.
Because then they go broad. They're like, well, average of our clients see an 80% increase. And it's like, well, 80% for certain
Means
companies
wild.
is
Mhm.
bonker
Yeah.
numbers. And so you better be able to back that up. So I like how you were just like, no, we actually have other founders in the space. You like clarified and quantified it. And if we weren't like doing this, that probably actually would have landed the meeting, to be fair. So I actually really love that part. Because a lot of people fail there as reps.
You got to have stories ready when you're. That's why I like
Facts.
vertical calling.
Stories,
Like
yeah.
if you go in a time block, a call block, just call one vertical. Don't switch it up. Don't get crazy.
Yeah.
And then have like a golden nugget sheet. I loved creating these at orgs that I would like when I'd get on. I'd go to the website and pull like case studies,
Yeah, social proof.
little things from CSM land that
Quotes.
they're sending out, little nuggets that were always constantly through the team, and then I would make a one pager like a sheet and group them by like vertical or ICP. So then when I did get that person or that vertical, I just pulled up my golden nuggets and I was like, hey, great question. Yeah, we've got 3 partners actually. We worked with Graystar, we worked with this property management company and this management company. They see on average 30% increase.
That's usually
now
what I
that's
lead with.
quantitative. Now they know it's to their industry. Because again, like you said, I could say, well, most of my customers see a 20% increase in what they're doing. Well, okay, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
From 0? Great, cool. Like,
Right.
like, or
Look
does
at
that mean
20% increase for Coca-Cola. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like you think about so it's like, yeah, that part, people come prepared with some stories, pick one vertical and then tell those stories. That's how you sell people. It's just telling stories, make it relatable, make it about them. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Facts.
Super valuable. Yeah,
You wanna do one?
we'll do one, and then maybe we could just do like rapid fire at the end.
Let's do it, let's
Similar
do it.
to like how we did it
Yeah.
at 30.
Who's your prospect? Who do you want to take on?
I'll let Sharif be the prospect.
Okay.
do it.
All right. Let's do it. There's a spin. Look at that.
All right, we got. I'm busy again, so we'll get
Okay.
into it.
Do it again.
Okay, I was about to say. Ooh.
Okay.
What do you
Send
get?
me the
Send me an
email.
Oh, this one's really
This is
good.
a top 3 objection for sure.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Everybody gets
Everyone
this
gets
one.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is going to be
This is
super
the top
tactful.
3.
Glad the host gets it.
Tactful?
I said tactical.
New word, baby.
Hey.
All right. So
What's
should I be
context?
selling influencer marketing software for Wealth University?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
yeah.
actually perfect, right?
That's perfect.
Or should we
How
have
you
them
can
play
learn-
like a
use
different?
Yeah.
influencers
Yeah.
for
How
your
can we use
community?
influencers for?
Probably exploring it
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
actually
Any
probably
influencers,
timely.
right?
Like, really
It's definitely
good.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
right.
Cool.
Okay.
Ring ring.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, Sharif? It's Will at Grin. How have you been?
been good. Where you calling from?
Grin. Hey, actually, the reason why I was reaching out, first of all, you've been absolutely crushing it on TikTok.
Thank
Like
you.
I see your posts, especially that interview one, man. That one I saw, I started laughing. I sent it to a couple of friends. I said, this guy's incredible. So I just
Thank
wanted to
you,
give you
thank
that compliment. But I was actually calling because I noticed that you have a huge community of Wealth University, and I can imagine the amount of applicants that are actually coming in, and it might be hard to manage them just yourself as that single influencer. You're working with a couple other companies in your space, a couple other major influencers, helping them get an army of others just like yourself to be able to promote your software or service, such as Wealth University. You know, what are you doing right now to get new influencers to promote Wealth University?
I mean, right now, biggest thing is just making more content. Actually, like, on a podcast right now, like I just stepped out. So if you could just shoot me a quick email, like give me a quick rundown, what other influencers, all that good stuff. And, when I'm on this podcast, I'll look it over.
Hey, Sharif, I totally get that. I hear this one a lot. So if you don't mind me asking, what specifically would you like in that email just so I'm relevant?
I mean, just send me, top 3 influencers you're working with and like, what type of offers maybe they're running. I think that'll be good. I'll, see if it fits with us.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're looking for the top 3 influencers and the offers that they present, typically the next best step is actually going to be set up a second call where you can go through not just 3, but I can show you our entire database of about 80 million influencers, really get you an expansive look at the different influencer profiles that you can get, how we provide value to you in a quick search. Maybe it takes less than 10 seconds. So I'm just going to put this out there. Let's say we put a tentative meeting on the books for tomorrow, same time. In the meantime, I will send you 3 influencers with their profiles via email, just to give you a snapshot of the value that we can provide. And if you feel that those 3 influencers are out of all value to you, what we can do on that next call tomorrow, we can go through the entire database of 80 million. And instead of 3, why don't we get you 30? It's about volume. And right now it sounds like you're trying to scale. And to be candid, Sharif, 3 influencers is not going to get you to scale. It's not going to move the needle. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. No, I completely understand. We probably right now have 5 influencers, and like, you know, if you've got 80 million, we definitely, it would make sense for us to carve out some time tomorrow.
Okay, Sharif. So that sounds like we have a plan here. So it's 3 p.m. So do you want to do 3 p.m. Monday?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's do it. Send me that email though, for sure.
So I got Sharif at wealthuniversity.io. Is that the correct email?
Yep, that's right.
All right, I'm about to send you an invite. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, perfect. And just to be safe, I know you have other influencers already, which is fantastic. Would there anyone else that would feel left out from your team if they also weren't on the second call?
Yeah, I have a personal assistant. I'll send you over, like, just send me that email. I'll send that email back. Or you could just take it down. I've got
What's the personal assistant's email? I'll take it down
I've
right
got
now.
an assistant, and you could add my co-founder Trev at Wealth University too.
Okay, both at wealthuniversity.io?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
I'm
then
going to
just assistant support at Wealth University.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to send you both an email invite, and I'm going to CC you guys on the 3 influencers I'm going to find you, and I really am confident you're going to like what you see.
Okay, that
All
sounds
right.
good, Will. Thanks
Take
for
care.
the call, man.
Bye.
That
He
was
like
pretty
stored
good.
up a spirit bomb for that one.
That was really good.
Wow. Yo, I love who's gonna feel left out. Who's gonna feel left out? It's such a great question.
It's a great. I will get.
I even forgot it on my own. I was like, that's such a good
I
question.
got that from
we
you.
didn't do it either.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
I know. I forgot,
I forgot it as
I
well.
taught you that one.
literally Morgan's.
I literally taught you that one.
both of our tactics now.
I was just saying,
combined them all in
masterclass.
That was
So,
fire.
so I have never heard the one you said of like the candidate thing before. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to use that and implement that immediately because
You
it's
could've
so
showed community
relatable.
People, like if look, I got 80 million. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you through influencers that are in the community space that are also working with other communities and show you how we position them. You could have got specific, right? And been like, hey, we have 3 like that I'll show you because you could throw them 3 influencers, but if they're from different products, like it might not.
I mean, the speed of he just heard this here and he just used it.
Yeah.
The speed of
no,
execution.
I'm just giving feedback
That was
for the
really
next
good.
one.
No, I'm not. I'm saying holistically.
I love to learn,
for
though.
people who
Yeah.
just paid attention. We
He
just
implemented it.
Yeah.
Right then and on the spot.
just on the spot. We were just on the spot.
That's feedback.
But I love
That's
to
a
learn.
good
Like
skill.
that's why, as a sales rep, like you, this episode, if you guys listening, is crazy value. Like
No, it's crazy value.
It's crazy.
He
It's
also-
crazy
he-
value.
You took away the objection though. You're like, I mean, honestly, like 3 influencers, that's really not going to do anything crazy for
escalated
you.
you.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, shoot, you are right. And he's like, what do you even want to see in that email? So he used what I said against me too. It was perfect.
And another tactic you could do there too is like when they say, like a lot of people go to that, hey, what would you like to see in the email? You could take the burden off and say, typically when I'm working with community people, when they ask for an email, they like to see these 3 things. Does that align with you too if I send that over? Or is there anything else additional you'd like to see?
Sure.
Now it shows you're an expert, you're a consultant
Right.
in the space. You're like, hey, most community founders I talk to, when they say send me an email, what's worked for them is me sending 3 profiles. I have a guide that can walk you through how to get into influencer marketing as a community. And then I'll send you a podcast episode I have. What else would you like to see to maybe earn some time with you? Now you're kind of leading with something. And they're like, hey, he might be like, oh, I don't need the video. I'm cool with the podcast episode. But if you could send me a case study of some results that happened, that would work for me. Cool. I'll get that email over to you.
Mhm.
I think you did well.
Yeah, that was really
That
nice.
good. That was
What
good.
else?
That was good.
Any other feedback?
What did you think? You were
Yeah, no, I think you did super well. Like that was the biggest thing I took away is one, you made sure to confirm like, what do you want me to send in that? After I told you like, well, I want to see these 3 influencers, the top 3 you've worked with. You're like, I can send that, but honestly, like what I've done in the past, 3 influencers isn't really going to move the needle. It's not going to do anything for your business. So as like the prospect, that would have me thinking like, shoot, I don't even know what I'm really talking about. Like let's actually meet. Then I wanted this, but you're telling me, which I know it's not going to make a difference. You've got 80 million influencers. Like it makes sense. So I would say that would be the biggest thing. Like anytime you can take away their objection and use that as like ammo almost is perfect.
Thank you.
I love. There's one word that you said in there. We actually have all said this word typically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's one word.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
We all said it. And the reason it's so powerful is because you now put yourself in the leading position, in the driving position. And I always tell people is if you are not driving the conversation, the prospect will drive the conversation and they'll drive you off the road.
Facts.
Off the road.
They just will. And like
That's what they want to do.
they're just like, I want to get out of here, right?
Facts.
Get me off the road. So you have to be the driver. And when you say typically, it's like, I've done this before.
Yeah.
It shows
You're an
confidence.
expert in the space.
It shows confidence. It shows you've been here before. There's no hesitation. It's like, I will follow this person. So saying that typically, like towards the end, that subconsciously led to him to be like, I'm confident where this is going to go.
Facts.
And like he said, he was like, oh, I was thinking 3 is enough. And he's like, hey,
said
typically people are using 10.
Yeah.
So I hear you with 3, but let's get you the full roster. How about Thursday? I'll walk you through because most like, and that's the thing. Somebody asked me that the other day of like, what's really getting the attention of people on cold calling or what is really breaking through the noise? And I think it is you being able to come in and say, look, you're on letter B, but most of your competition and people I'm working with are on letter L or Z.
Sure.
Why is it that you're on B? Because you said, oh, like
Exactly.
I thought 3 was cool. I'm on influencer marketing. I thought
Exactly.
3 is going to be good.
Yeah.
And he's telling me we've done some 3 people campaigns. They're kind of not working out pretty well. But if we get to 10 or 15, it's really doing some damage.
Yeah.
Have you thought about expanding that number or even realized, who on your mind would be your 10?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. Cool.
It's like
I've
that
got a
pattern
roster of
interrupt.
80 million. I'll show you they're working in community. They're doing this stuff. I'll show you some ROI. How does Thursday at 2:00? And I'll bring some folks to you. So if you could show them like that consultative, again, I tell SDRs all the time, like, yes, SDRing, you're doing the job, you have the skills, but you have something that this person doesn't. You have access to all these people you talk to in the week. You're talking to 10 people, 20 people a week on a good week. Cold calling, getting those conversations. You're probably getting 5
That's
a
a
day.
good week. Yeah.
Right? 5 conversations a day. You're talking to 25 people. Use that. Get insights. Have a conversation because every call after that, you're coming with that confidence of like, hey, I actually just talked to another community leader last week. He did 3, didn't work for him. We got him on a roster of 10. He's seeing now 15 signups a day coming through his community. Now you're like showing them like, I know this stuff.
Yeah, you're
I'm
in
this
this
space.
space.
I'm talking with your peers because you're in your own little world. You're in your own little world. I'm in my own little world doing what we need to do. But Will's talking to 25
he's
people a
hitting
week.
everybody up. You build up that FOMO. They're like,
Yeah.
wait, you talk to them and they're doing this, and
Right.
yeah, maybe I am on letter
And maybe
B.
I am behind. And you're like, man, I talked to like 20 people last week. It sounds like you all are on letter B and nobody's realizing they should be on L. I'd love to show you how to differentiate and get to L. Do you have time on Thursday? And I could walk you through that. And they're like, well, shoot, dude, what? I'm
Yeah.
that behind? Like, wow.
Yeah.
So when you come with pains and problems and you're showing them like, I'm doing this every day. I know what's going on here and I can lead you. They feel more confident to take those calls and meetings with you.
Well, and I think all 4 of us have one thing in common is you and Morgan are truly your own business owners, but also like Sharif and I are LLC. So we all have our own business that we pour into. And I will get cold calls of people illuminating pain. Usually it's video editors or website editors.
Oh.
And they'll say, dude, like, hey, I was looking at this content. Like, have you thought about doing this? And as a business owner, I'm like, this directly impacts my business. So I'm like, no, I have, but this is the issue. And so they illuminate an actual pain point where as a business owner or as an end user, you're well aware of, like, it's public information that pain point's there. And so I'm going to give some information and kind of see them out to see if they can actually help me. Like, is this legit? So it helps having an LLC owner's perspective now that I am getting people
That
wanting
outreach.
to pitch me.
Yeah.
Of like, what do I actually bite on? What am I spending money on? And it's helpful. So
And that's
I think
a good
I've
thing
learned.
for SDRs to do. Do you want to know what's hitting and what's working? Talk to your bosses.
That's
Talk
right.
to your C-suite. Go look at their inboxes. Hey, what emails are you actually looking at? Which ones aren't you? Can you show some examples this week at our weekly meeting of like what did get your attention? Then you can start learning and kind of adapt your own, prospecting methods to that kind of stuff. I love going through my spam folder. My spam folder is gold for me, man.
A lot in there.
Because I know that their reps are landing there. So now I have a play for my company to talk to them about email deliverability, or I could see kind of what the messages are and what I'm biting on. And then I could take that and replicate it in potentially my own outreach to others,
Facts.
Cool. Do you want to do rapid fire really quickly or?
Yeah,
What do
we
you
won't
think?
role play it out. We could just talk frameworks or how you would best
We can
handle
talk
that.
through it.
Yeah.
So spin it. We'll talk through it.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Best cold
closed
email subject line.
Okay. We're in the
So,
room with our best ones.
what's the best subject line
One-
you ever had?
Meeting request, their first name plus my first name.
Okay.
Okay.
Open rate was pretty good. Like,
I mean,
just,
yeah, it makes me think I have a meeting with you.
Yeah, literally. Open rate's pretty good.
They might be
Yeah.
meeting with you. Yeah, that makes sense.
My best one was in 2019, and it was magic goggles. That was the subject line. 2 words, magic goggles, and then the opening line was, and playing into that, like, what if you could have a pair of magic goggles that would reveal your problems to you today? What would that look like? This is what we do at rep.com, and then I tied it in, and it was my best subject line ever. 2 words,
Wow.
magic goggles.
Magic goggles.
Yep, and I've ran it since, and it still pops.
That's a good one. Okay, I'm gonna go with first name greater than less than sign their company.
Yeah.
That one,
It's a solid one.
it just
Ooh.
continuously slaps.
I see influencers, people talk about it all the time. It's like the number one performance.
It's
Really?
yeah. I mean, it's
yeah. Oh yeah. You just do the 2 brackets together, and then you put their company first, and then yours. It's just,
I
hits.
tested it as an SDR one day, and I was like, let's see. I did it, and the open rate, I think the average open rate is like 48%.
Sheesh.
Especially if you put like their competitor.
Crazy.
You can go take it a step further and do their company, and then the competitor. That'll get them to open too.
If it like their competitor and like their customer, like
Yeah.
their customer, yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a space, like, you know, if I'm going
In the
after
space.
Walmart, I would
Yep.
put Walmart, Kmart,
Yeah.
or Walmart, you know, Target. And then that would pop open because they're like, why is my name to my competitor's name? Like, whoa.
Undefeated subject
Yeah.
line.
Mm.
Even works in other regions.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
international.
really? International too?
Internet. We tested it in Germany. It's still printed. I was like, all right.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, seriously, I
Like-
got that from you.
I like
it.
it.
Just
Hey, it
works,
slaps.
man. If it slaps, it
about you?
slaps.
What's been always working well for me is I go to an influencer's post, but you could do this for anything.
Mhm.
You could say XYZ influencer brought me here. So I do @ symbol, you know, you could say, I don't know, who's a big influencer
At
that,
Morgan Ingram.
sure, like @ Morgan Ingram brought me here.
Forgot the J though.
@ Morgan J. Ingram brought me here. And the reason I do that is because it's unique and they're like, okay, I know this person, so why are they putting that? And then the first opening line, I say, hey, I noticed Morgan's post on LinkedIn about you, and I wanted to reach out to you about X, Y, and Z. So
Very
that's
nice.
usually
Yeah, that's good too.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. 4 subject lines.
I've
There
seen
we go.
those. Like,
Run some
Beth
campaigns.
What
directed
else
me
we
your
got?
way, or like, yeah.
We could just actually go to best cold call opener.
Okay, let's do it. Where we at? All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. We'll start this direction now. So we'll start with you.
I gave mine on a previous episode. So
Yeah, you did.
so
We'll pick a new one.
And you did too,
Yeah.
which I use
you gotta
now.
let people pace it out. You gotta let me and I have another one. This guy.
First
Y'all see this guy?
First and last podcast.
It's the first. Is your first podcast ever? Okay, so this one, I like it. Transparently, it's nothing insanely impressive, but what it does is it gets straight to the point. So it actually correlates with what you said earlier.
Okay.
And so I teach this one for people who like want to get straight in the action, and also in certain regions, this works very well if you want to get to the point. So literally, all you do is say, "Hey, my name's Morgan Ingram from AMP. You don't know me, I don't know you, and the reason for my call is," and you just go straight into it. It's nothing crazy, but it's because there's 2 things that happen is people want to know, who are you? What do you want? So you're immediately saying, hey, you don't know who I am. You don't know me either. Let's go into it. And that allows for people not to like cut you off.
Very nice. Close it out. I like it.
That's it.
Yeah, for me, I usually used it.
I
right?
took it
and
from
it's
you.
Worked, yeah, a lot for a lot of people is, hey, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. Morgan, how are you? How have you been? I use a lot of how have you been just to make it look relatable. I know you. You almost for a second think we've had a call.
Yeah, you might have
And then
forgot
my
who
next,
is this.
Yeah, and then my next line, they'll be like, hey, like you did. Hey, I'm great. Who is this again? You know, and then I can get in the next piece. Or they'll be like, hey, I'm doing really well. It's just how you deliver with the tone. If you come in like, hey, Morgan, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. How have you been, man? Hey, I'm doing really well. How are you? I'm doing good. Hey, the reason for my call is, and then I do that for my next line. Because again, now I've said who I am, why I'm calling, and building that rapport. Or I'll say, hey, I seen your post. I seen this on your company website. And then I get into it.
Can you talk about tone though? Because this is really important. Because
Tone
if
is
you
everything.
because if you just I do not like how are you.
No, how are you?
I despise it.
So we could play it out, right? Like, hey, Morgan, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. How are you?
Terrible.
Hey,
Yeah,
Morgan, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. How have you been?
I'm all right.
Right? Rolls off the tongue. It sounds familiar. It's how you call your friends. The one thing in my career that I've tried to nail for 15, 16 years is how to take a cold call and actually replicate it to how you call your friends.
Sometimes
And I
I
can't
do say,
master
how
it.
are you?
I haven't mastered it yet. It's
don't
the one
like
thing
it.
that keeps me up at night.
But I have
What?
to be extremely smiley when I do it.
For which one? How are you?
How are you?
It's a knee jerk. Like it's immediate
I
sales
kind
call.
of like force myself to smile.
I
but
have to be literally smiling, like standing up,
Yeah, you got-
like the
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
Like,
Why so serious?
yeah. Morgan, how are you?
That's an opener. Why so serious?
Right.
Morgan.
As soon as they say hello, hey, Will, why so serious? Oh my God, I'm
So
gonna
you
try
have
this.
to smile.
Like for
Standing
me,
and smiling.
I have, if I'm gonna do the how are you, which I typically don't do, but I usually do times. But let's say I want to give people other openers as well. Is like sometimes I do like the how are you, like, you know, Morgan, how are you, man?
Terrible.
Terrible? That's too bad. It's a really great day outside. I don't know what you're up to, but it's like 80 degrees.
Well, I'm in
I don't.
Antarctica.
literally
On a
in
science
Sweden
trip.
and it's 20 degrees outside. It's freezing.
Well, hopefully I can make this cold call a little warmer with the value I'm about to bring.
Okay.
The reason why I'm calling it.
Oh, that's good transition.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's good transition.
That's why also okay. So the thing that actually I had someone who came on the SDR Chronicles. They were episode 18, and it was at the point where I actually liked "How are you?" because also I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, right from the South. Like when you talk to someone in the South, say hi, you're like, "Oh yeah, what up?" Like it's like you know. But like if you're calling New York, you're gonna get berserked, right? You're gonna get cooked,
yeah.
right? So he was like, "What if someone responds and says that they're terrible or they're doing awful?" It's hard to recover from that. Now, you made it to a point where like you were probably going to recover and be fine because you know how to do that. But I don't even like getting in the position of that happening.
Well, it's just like
But I know it works for people, so I'm not going to.
It doesn't work
do
for it doesn't
It
work
has
for me that much. But
because you're not genuine, right? It's
Yeah.
conviction. I think anything on your I'm dead serious. Do you call a prospect and actually care how well they are?
98% of people don't.
Don't.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's automatically shut down more often than not, because what's there to say there? And if they say they're terrible, like you're kind of already stuck.
You feel
That's why I
bad
like
for
how
them.
have you been? Because how have you been opens up to a conversation of just like, how have you been? Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
been going on as a holistic view, not today. Like, how are you? Like, I'm terrible.
Yeah, that one's very general
But if
too.
it's like, hey, how have you been?
How's your day going?
Yeah.
Maybe is a little bit better than like, how are you?
Right. But if you do like, how have you been?
I'm okay with that.
You're like, hey, I've been all right. I've been doing
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Or, man, life's been kind of tough lately, but yeah, I'm overall okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I've heard that too. Like, I get it. We're all kind of going through it. That's why I called. I wanted to see if maybe I could provide some value and be of help, right? But you tie into it. What's your opener?
Yeah. So it kind of goes along the lines of trying to make it as if I'm calling a friend or being friendly. Well, one caveat is I'll try to, depending on the prospect, I'll kind of try and call someone like who else works at the company. But I usually would just be like, hey, is Tom there? And then have that like upbeat kind of tone. And then like, yeah, who is this? And they're kind of curious. So then I'm like, yeah, this is Sharif. I actually spoke with Beth, your colleague. Did you have maybe 30 seconds? I'll explain why I'm calling. And at that point, like their curiosity, they're just like, wait, do I know this person? Like they say, am I here? They spoke with this person who I worked with. So that's usually how I'll try it. That's like my like go-to opener. Like, hey, is Morgan there?
I like that one too, because sometimes you get SDR through a cold call and like they just assume they're talking to somebody and start word vomiting. And they'll be like, hey, I'm not that person. Like, hey, you got the wrong person. Or what I've been watching recently is people on like cold call lives and stuff, they have their name and they'll call that person and yeah, that person will be the name, but there's no correlation, which is wild to me. Like yesterday I had some people cold calling and one got to connect and the person's name was Marin that he was calling on his list. The person who answered was Marin, but there was no like they didn't even sync up. And she was like, after like his pitch was like, hey, I think you have the wrong Marin. I'm not that person. And he was like,
crazy.
yeah. So like sometimes it's like even that. So I think that approach of like, that's why I did it with you. Like, hey, Morgan.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, this is Morgan. What's up? Now I know I have them. And
Right.
you're
Yeah.
prone to correct or assume like, hey, Tom. Yeah, this is him.
Yeah.
Like now you've got confirmation. They can't give you that objection 30 seconds later and be like, hey, you got the wrong person. Well,
Yeah.
you just told me you're Morgan.
Confirmed.
Yeah, you
that's it.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Then I go into the opener.
Yeah.
Versus as soon as a pickup, hey, Morgan, it's Tom over at the SD Lab. You know, I was giving you a call because of XYZ. Now I've taken 15 seconds. And then as soon as I finish, you're going to be like,
heading
hey,
in the right spot.
wrong person.
Yeah.
Got to go.
You literally just word vomited. Also,
Okay.
I'll try like if it's like a Matthew, I'll be like, hey, is Matt there? or like kind of try and use a nickname or shorten it just so it like you're more familiar.
Yeah.
And then you're already opening up to a conversation by asking them a question too.
Yeah, be careful with that one. I've had somebody be like, "It's Matthew,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, sorry." Got cooked. Fair play. If
Yeah.
you try to make the nickname on their behalf, they're like, "Hey, dude, that's not it."
Fair
But,
play.
yeah.
You gotta stick with the full name.
So, what do you think, you guys? Is that enough for the audience there?
I feel like they've gotten a
Yeah,
lot.
I feel like they have
Lots
too.
of gems.
Like,
There's a couple more stuff on the wheel, but they've gotten a lot.
They've gotten a lot. Unless we're gonna go rapid fire on Spotify.
I think
I mean,
we've done
we
everything.
done-
I think I guess the only one is like what happens when they say call in 6 months, right? You get that.
6 months. You don't have 6 months, Tom. You're on spreadsheets.
Yeah. What's going to change from now in 6 months?
That's
Like,
it, right?
yeah.
That's it. I mean,
That's it. That's the best
That's
question.
the one question
Yeah.
to ask. I actually don't even think there's anything better than that question.
Yeah. What happens in 6 months to today?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z. That makes sense. Nothing really. Cool. Then let's get a call on Thursday.
Facts.
Damn.
Bring us home, Will.
Okay, this was unbelievable and a lot of fun. Like, I think it was just so much value, and you could see me as a host learning from you, and you.
Learning
pulling.
and implementing too.
I'm like,
Real
it's
time,
good
bro.
for my sales game, dude. It is. It's like it helps, and like I have other people on, and I'm like, oh, I like that. But like what I say, someone else might like. But then like for the listeners, you just can pull from whoever you feel you align with more, and you could just take that and say, I like this, I like that. So unbelievable, guys. I'm gonna wrap this episode 15. So I'm gonna give everyone, each of you, an opportunity to share like where can people find you, how can they connect,
Yeah.
and
Connect me at Morgan J Ingram on all socials, and then we are putting out a ton of value on our newsletter right now. It's called the Commish, so definitely go check that out. Commish, it's in my link in bio, so go check us out there.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
And when you DM him, ask him why he has a J in his name. Nice little story.
There's
there.
a great story in that.
Yeah, Tom, you can find me on LinkedIn. I got a fire emoji in front of my name. Tom Slocum on all the platforms. I bring the fire, all right? I put it in there.
Why do you put emojis in your name?
It really started out because people would like spam you, and you could get like if you have an emoji, you can read
Oh,
who's
yeah.
actually giving you a real message
Just
and
put
who
the middle
is it.
initial.
They still would be able to.
No.
Oh, does that stop too?
Yeah.
And
That's why I have it.
interesting fact, me and him have the same initial. Tom J.
too.
Slocum.
I have
Hey,
J.
you too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Will
yeah.
J. Padilla.
I'm the only one. I'm not in the club.
Oh, dang.
You made it happen. Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. That's where I live and breathe. Got a newsletter called the GTM Launchpad. So if you're a founder, a sales leader looking to keep your team fresh and innovative, grab my newsletter in my featured section.
Awesome.
I can be found Sharif 2D, 2 R's, 2 F's, SHARRIFF 2D, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I think that's all the
Pinterest,
platforms,
Snapchat?
right? Yeah, I was gonna say
Wow.
all the platforms, and I as well have a free email list, 7 days of like free resume templates, interview templates, all that stuff. So check it out if you want to get in tech.
Yeah, I'll link all their guys' stuff in the Spotify description so you guys can connect with them. And yeah, episode 15, guys, this has been a blast. I learned a lot. And
I did too.
hopefully
Yeah.
the audience, you guys learned too. If you're listening, make sure you give us a rating on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, give us a subscription. That means a lot. And yeah, just support the podcast any way you can. Ratings, likes, shares, it all helps. So thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
man.
Let's go.